Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. Today, I'm your special guest host, Josh Leyes. Chris Finn is on a conference. So I'll be filling in today. Going to share with you guys one of my favorite topics is about finishing off the season strong. Whether you're down south, whether you're up north, your season will come to an end. So if you're in the northern states, that season is likely coming to an end. We are currently in early September, so we've got some time left, but if you're in the South, that season will stretch out for a few more months. I want to talk to you today about how to assess, how to maximize those last, probably 4 to 8 weeks of that golf season. A lot of different ways to go about it, but some of the things I'm going to share with you really help you unpack and make a simple analysis and take stock of where you're at and where you want to go, and we can also plan for the off season ahead. So let's dive right into it. First thing, as I already mentioned, where are you? Are you playing where your golf season is ending in October, end of October, November, or can you stretch that season through the winter months, and you might only have a couple months off, 2 to 3 months off, depending on where you are. Some people, if you're in a hot season where it's, June, July, August are really, really warm, and you might be getting into your season. So we're talking about ending the season here. First thing is take stock of where your game's at. When you're looking at, you're past the halfway point in your season, we want to look at some trends. If you keep stats, if you don't keep stats, that's where I would definitely start to keep some basic stats. If you haven't already, you should be able to look back on the last 10 to 15 rounds of golf you played, and you should be able to see trends in terms of the main stats we want to look at that affect your scoring. Golf performance is all about scoring. So we need to be able to hit some greens in regulation. Okay, so greens in regulation is a key stat. If you're someone who's looking to break 80 consistently, you probably need to hit minimum 9 greens, and you need to hit half the greens in regulation to have a realistic chance of breaking 80 on a regular basis. If you're trying to break 90, you probably want to be hitting at least 5 or 6 greens in regulation. So this is a key stat because it just gives us an idea where your ball striking is at from a 30,000-foot view. Another one is penalty strokes. So if you're taking a ton of penalty strokes, either off the tee or approaching the green, we know that your swing is probably not as reliable as it could be. So keeping track of how many penalty strokes you have per round is also important. We're also going to look at your up and down percentage and your 3-putt avoidance. Those would be the big ones. So that tells us how good your short game is. That's going to depend because maybe you're missing the green in spots where you're not going to have a very good chance of getting up and down. So are you leaving yourself short-sided, 2 times out of 3 versus are you leaving yourself an easier chip to get up and down 2 times out of 3? So that's going to be very, very important. And then we're also going to look at your 3-putt avoidance. That's really, really simple. You can just, take the amount of times you 3-putt in a round, find out what percentage, the amount of time that is. We want to be putting ideally, 1 3-putt per round or less would be amazing. That's an area that I've been working on, trying to get my 3-putt avoidance so that I'm putting. I'd love to get down to 1 3-putt or less per round. I'm currently at 1.4 3-putts per round. That's down. I used to be at like 1.8 or 1.9, so it's trending. So that tells me I need to probably work on, distance control my putting and my 3 to 5 footers, which I have been working on. So when we're looking at up and down percentage, as I talked about, sometimes that depends on maybe you're just not picking the correct target. Maybe your swing is fine, but you're missing greens because you're firing at flags that you shouldn't, and you're not playing to your shot dispersion. So think about, obviously, when you hit the golf ball, you're going to have, if you hit 100 shots, you're going to have a shot dispersion, pattern like a shotgun blast. You want to place that in an area where you're most likely, or aim that in an area where you're most likely to get up and down. So if the pin's, on the back left, and you tend to pull shots to the left and you tend to miss left, you're not going to aim at the middle of the green. You might aim at the right edge of the green. And if you pull a shot, you might end up close to the pin or end up in the middle of the green. If you hit a straight shot, you're going to end up on the right side of the green. If you push a shot, you might end up right of the green, but that's not your tendency. And then you'll have an easier time getting up and down because you've got some green to work with and you leave yourself easier up and downs. So picking the right target's important. If you're missing greens and you're not getting up and down, look at where are you missing the green. And getting those green and regulation stats and penalty strokes down is going to come down to your golf swing. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But those are the big trends that you want to track in your game to see if you're improving. And then you know where to look. And if it's a putting issue, that's a pretty easy fix. You can just look at distance control drills and short putting drills to help you improve those areas of your game. All right. Again, you may need to just adjust where you're aiming, whether it's off the tee or into the greens, so that you give yourself the best chance of keeping the ball in play and getting it on or near the green where you can get up and down much easier. And then we look at your golf swing. You're really trying to improve your golf swing and ball striking. This is where we need to look at your body. Okay, so if your stats and you're doing great, if you're trending in the right direction through the end of the season, great. Keep doing what you're doing, and make sure your mobility is in a good spot. So we want to make sure that you're monitoring your rotary mobility so that it can change week to week. Your mobility can be passing 1 week for the 4 rotary centers, and then the next week you're failing 2 out of 4, depending on how much work you put into your mobility on a regular basis. So I think it's a great tool to monitor your mobility every week. We are going to put the free home mobility assessment in the show notes so that you can access that. It tells you exactly what you need to look for in terms of your neck, your shoulders, your spine, and your hips. Those are the 4 main rotary centers. Those are non-negotiables in golf. You need to be able to rotate around those areas if you're going to have a consistent, repeatable golf swing that's going to allow you to play and stay injury and pain-free. So monitor your mobility. If you're progressing this season and your scoring is going down and your handicap's going down, keep doing what you're doing and prepare for the off season by maintaining your mobility. If you're on a current strength routine, keep it up. But if you're not doing anything for your strength, that's something you're going to want to start to look at as the off season approaches. Something that's going to get you, help you build muscle and get stronger. And then as the following season approaches, you're going to work on building some speed. Now, if you're noticing some trends in the wrong direction, like you looked at all the other things we just talked about it in your stats, we looked at your, greens and regulation, your penalty strokes, and it comes down to your swing is just not in a dependable spot. So we need to identify if your game's not trending well and it's because of your golf swing and you're putting too much pressure on your short game and you're having a two-way miss, all those kinds of things. Your swing is probably the issue you're going to look at, but your swing might not be the issue. So I'll say that again. If you're looking to fix your golf swing as the issue that you need to fix because of a problem you're having on the golf course, your golf swing, the technique is probably likely it's not the issue. It's likely a body issue that's manifesting itself as a swing technique problem or a swing fault. So most of the time, a swing fault is going to present that way because your body's compensating for a lack of mobility somewhere. So that's why you need to do the home assessment. Find out how well your neck rotates, how well your shoulders rotate, and your trunk and your hips. Because guess what? If you can't rotate your trunk 60 degrees, you're going to start to get out of sync with your arms. And your arms and chest aren't going to move in sync, and you're going to be less consistent. If you can't rotate into your lead hip, you're going to have trouble shifting weight towards the ball, getting your hips to lead the downswing, getting some kind of separation between your lower and your upper body and disassociation. So you need those kinds of things to play good golf. Those are non-negotiables. If you don't have those mobility basics, you're going to have a consistency problem in your golf swing. And it's going to show up at the worst times, usually under pressure. And if tempo starts to get a little off, then your body, which if it's having trouble rotating, those swing faults are going to be magnified. So always look towards your body first rather than your swing first. If your body can't rotate is where it needs to, again, that's neck, shoulders, spine, mid-spine, we call it your thoracic spine, and your hips. If they don't rotate as much as they need to, your swing is going to be really inconsistent. It's just going to be a game of compensations and timing. And that, as we know, leads to a lot of inconsistency. That's where we get those, penalty shots from, or missing green in spots where you really shouldn't be missing it, bad misses at the wrong time, often that's going to come from your body not being able to move a certain way. And if you've ever been standing over the ball and you're not comfortable and you're just unsure about, I just don't know if I'm going to hit a good shot here. A lot of times it's your body telling you, you know what? Yeah, you can't rotate around your hips and your spine. So I'm going to have to like time this with my arms and hands. And that's not a recipe for consistent, repeatable golf and good scoring. So again, if you're getting better and your scoring and your handicap is going down through the season, fantastic. That's typically what we should see. Most of the time, people at the start of the season, the handicap, actually you might have a couple good rounds early in the year if you've had a layoff. There's typically no rough in the earliest part of the season, so you might have some good rounds early, and then usually early third of the season, that handicap goes up as some of the low scores from the previous season come out, and then by the end of that season, you're usually again working that handicap back down. So we want to see that handicap progressing downwards, hopefully somewhere before what last year's low was, if you're trying to improve that handicap. And if it's not, we need to start look at those key stats. Okay. What's our 3-putt avoidance, our 3-putt percentage? How many greens are you hitting? Where are you missing greens? Are you able to get up and down a decent percentage of the time? And are you having any penalty strokes? And if you're struggling in those areas of hitting greens and it's not because you're picking bad targets, it's because your swing is just all over the place, we need to look to our body. So first and foremost, always look at whatever is swinging the club, okay? It's going to be you. Look to you first, not so much the swing itself. Okay, the swing is a product. It's just a byproduct of what you physically can and can't do with your body. So find out what your body can't do. Hips, shoulders, neck, spine. Make sure those things work. Then move to your swing, and you can fix your mobility in just a matter of weeks. It can be very quick progress. So that's a really low hanging fruit that we can achieve and see some quick gains in your mobility and improvement in your consistency in your swing and reduction in pain. So hopefully you found all this helpful, guys. Again, I'll have the link for the home mobility assessment in the show notes. And until next time, hope you guys play some great golf and enjoy the rest of that season. Talk to you soon.